It's been a long time since I gambled. When I was younger, my friends and I used to go to Las Vegas a couple of times a year. The drive to Vegas was always fantastic, filled with fantasy images of riches and abundance. The drive back kind of sucked. And it's been a long time since I bought a lottery ticket of any kind. But I got to admit, recently in my state where I live, the Powerball, or the tri-state, whatever they call it, was over $1 billion. And they have these big, huge signs all over town. And I can't help it, but whenever I pass by those signs, sometimes I can't help slip into fantasy land and think about what it might be like to win $1 billion and have $1 billion and all the things that I could do with $1 billion. I had a very, very interesting experience when I was in high school. I was flipping around the channels and I came across this documentary. And the documentary was talking about lotteries and state lotteries and how they market lotteries, or at least the part of the documentary I watched was how they market lottery tickets, how they convince people to buy a lottery ticket. And the marketing director was explaining that when they sell someone the idea of a lottery ticket, they are literally, not figuratively, not metaphorically, they are literally selling a dream. Because it's one thing to pass by a sign and see $1 billion and have a 2 or 3 second fantasy of what you might do with $1 billion. But when you buy a lottery ticket, you have a physical thing. And when you're holding this physical thing, you have 2 or 3 days until the drawing to have a legitimate fantasy that you might be a millionaire one day. And so that's what she said they are selling people. A 2 or 3 day fantasy attached to this tangible object, which gives them the legitimate reason or the legitimate belief that they might be a millionaire one day. So they're literally selling a dream. You buy a dream for $1 or $5 and you have this fantasy for 2 or 3 days. This is the exact same dynamic why most self-help today sucks. It's the same dynamic why most self-improvement sucks. You buy this tangible product, a book, a course, you watch a video on YouTube, and while you're consuming the information, you have this fantasy of a better life based on the self-help material. I read one statistic that showed that 90% of people don't finish completely any kind of self-help material they buy. Which means that most people don't even consume the total of self-help material, let alone put the stuff into practice to see whether or not it works. A long, long time ago, before the internet, or back when the internet was just getting started, I got this fantastic long-form sales letter in the mail, an actual hard, unfolded, thick paper, high-quality picture sales letter. And it was about this system at the racetrack. And it was created by this ex-NASA scientist who got kicked out of NASA because he broke some mathematical rule or something. It had some fantastic story. And I was thinking, this is it. I'm going to be rich. I'm going to get rich at the racetrack. And so I ordered it. It was like $200. It came in the mail. I planned my Saturday off from work. I was going to go to the bookstore and sit in the coffee shop and learn my secrets to riches. But it took me about 20 minutes to realize this was a total scam, because the system was so absolutely complex. It would take you at least 6 months. And you had to spend a whole bunch of money to get all the material you would need to research the past races of all these horses. And it would take at least 6 months just to see if this would work or not. And I immediately understood the scam. They promise the moon and they give you a system that is so utterly complex you can't even possibly check to see if the system works or not. And that's kind of how most self-help is today, only it's kind of organically evolved into that kind of a system. I don't think anybody is deliberately making self-help, although you never really know. But most self-help follows that same kind of pattern. They come up with some crazy, untested idea, or you have a content creator that comes up with some crazy, untested idea, and they come up with some fantastic sounding marketing. Sell the sizzle, sell the moon, sell the stars, sell everything. People read the marketing. They imagine, wow, my life's going to be so much better. They buy the material. They buy the book. They go to the seminar. They buy the online course. But while they have the course, before they even consume the course, they have the same kind of, I'm holding a lottery ticket, my life's going to be fantastic, kind of short-lived fantasy in their brain. But not only do they not consume the material completely, but they never try it out in real life to see if it works. This is true for self-help. This is true for any kind of self-development. Even if you were to buy a book on how to play the piano. Imagine you wanted to be the superhero at the party that would sit down at the piano and play all the cool songs and get all the girls and be treated like a rock star. And so you bought a book on how to play the piano, and you got this book, and while you held this book about how to play the piano, you imagined being a rock star at the party, but you never read the book. That's how most people consume self-help. It's kind of like back in the days of the Soviet Union. They had a saying that the factory workers would pretend to work and the factory owners would pretend to pay them. This is kind of how a lot of self-help seminars work. You go to the seminar, you pay a bunch of money, you have a vested interest in believing that you're learning something legitimate that will create a fantastic future, so you pretend in the seminar room that everything works like magic, but everybody that goes to these seminars are afraid to try the techniques outside the seminar room. And so they go to the next seminar and they become seminar junkies, and they follow this seminar teacher for life, and they spend all their money with this seminar teacher, and they buy everything this guru is selling without ever testing to see if it works or not. Now, I don't know about you. I don't know what's inside your brain. I don't know what you want to become in life. I don't know how satisfied you are with your life right now, or if you want more out of life. But because you're watching this, because of your experience, because you can understand this, you know there's two kinds of people in the world. There's one kind of person, most people, that sit on the sidelines and spend all kinds of money on magic sounding hoo-ha that doesn't really do anything, and they wait for magic to change their lives. Then there's people like you who realize that if you want to get more stuff in life, you need to build your skills. And skills require practice. Skills require you do things every day. If you want to learn how to play the piano so you can be a rock star at the party and sit down at the piano and play some fantastic songs and get all the girls to fall in love with you, you need to go through a lot of boring practice to get there. Anything you want in life can be achieved, but you need the skills to get there. And all skills require practice. And guess what? Practice is boring. But on the other side of practice is all the good stuff you want. But you need to practice the right thing. There's plenty of dudes who go out and spam approach thousands of women, but they're using the wrong approach. They're practicing the wrong thing. And if you practice the wrong thing, you're not going to get any better. You're actually making your bad habits worse, making it harder to improve yourself. So not only do you need to practice every day, but you need to practice the right things every day. But if you figure out the right things to practice every day, if you figure out where you want to go, if you figure out the skills that you need to get there, and you put it in your mind that you're going to practice the right things every day, 5-10 minutes a day, you can get to wherever you're going. So again, I don't know what you want out of life. I don't know if you want to be the guy who can walk up to the hottest girl in the party and make her fall in love with you like that. I don't know if you want to have a sales career where you can make 6 figures a year and 5 or 6 hours a week because you've learned the secrets of communicating with people to get them to buy anything. I don't know if you want to be the best, most attractive, most powerful, most wealthiest motivational speaker in the world, capable of moving the minds of millions because of your fantastic speeches. I don't know what you want, but I'm going to guess that you're somebody who realizes that you can get that thing, but you need to learn to practice. You need to practice the right thing every day, and you need to practice every day.